or whatever.
I don't even know now that you said that. I don't know.
Like this one here.
I don't know.
Really? This one in Crawfordville.
I've never thought about it before.
No.
Oh yeah, there's one at
Like
Publix.
Domino's and stuff like that.
There's one
yeah.
at Publix. There's one on Pensacola Street. So yeah.
The sit downs, yeah, they were supposed to shut them
This is
down.
worthless. If you're reading.
Is Pepsi still on Pizza Hut?
Who?
Pepsi. Yeah, I do
Pepsi.
too.
All right, we ready?
Yep.
All right, we'll get the workshop started on Waste Pro contract. And David, you want to take over from there?
I'll get us started. About a year ago, we staff started working with Waste Pro on a on our contract renegotiation. The first thing we had to do was figure out the make sure we reconciled all of our accounts, which that ended up taking us about a year to do. We got to reconcile. We've already taken care of all of that in the last board meeting. Therefore, we have reached some contract terms that have been presented to the board, and therefore, what the board wanted to do is go ahead and have a meeting so that the public could have their input on the existing contract. So therefore, I open it up to that.
Okay. Well, we were hopeful we'd have
At least one.
many citizens here, but there's a few citizens, and I'm not sure they're here for anything else other than
Running for office.
running for office or work for the company. So we'll certainly open it up to anybody who would like to make any comments from the public. We'd love to hear your input.
There's a citizen. No, he works for the newspaper.
So anybody from the citizens? Board members? Any questions?
Well, I'll make a comment. I brought this up because I had heard, you know, a lot of complaints and a lot of rumblings. And like I said at the last meeting, in my opinion, when there's a legitimate issue, you guys take care of it. You take care of it quickly and do a good job. And I appreciate that. There's a lot of other rumblings that, you know, people not always happy, but there's not always a good solution unless we want to dig a little deeper in the wallet and pay a little bit more money for more services. But I thought we at least needed to open it up and give people the opportunity. About the only thing that has come up to me from someone who couldn't be here today is we dealt with this a while back when like fishermen had crab traps they need to dispose of. And I think at that time you guys took them in the metal bin. I don't know, is that still an ongoing thing that we can just crush them right in there with like a refrigerator or anything else? Okay, that's
always been that way.
right.
Can I ask him a question, Mike? Chairman?
Yeah.
I'd asked you earlier about taking class 1. Is there any way,
Come on over here.
Microwave, microphone.
any way you guys could take household garbage
No.
if somebody came in with a,
It's not permitted. And then the truth of the matter is that the cost to get that to be permitted is probably in the $2 to $3 million range.
so the
Because-
transportation permit's expired, I take it?
Well, when the landfill shut down, yes.
Because
That
I
time.
was under the impression, I talked to Nanette about this, man, we had a person call or clean out a rental and didn't have anywhere to take it, and you'd call the landfill and they said they were gonna take it.
Most of it can be taken, you know, it's just the MSW that cannot. So all the furniture, all the carpet, clothes, all that kind of stuff.
Class 3 stuff.
Most of it's class 3. It's just the food waste. I mean, we have from time to time, people will, and Calvert can testify to this, is just the other day we had someone that had lost their freezer, and including in my neighborhood where I live, we had a big lightning strike, and a lot of people lost their freezers and air conditioners and their refrigerators. And the problem that we have is we can't take the food waste. And the last time that we did do that,
It was Hurricane Michael was last time y'all did it.
Yeah.
well, even before that, I think that it was a redheaded DEP officer. What was her name? You remember? Sherry? Heather? Yeah, anyway, she dinged us and was going to fine us for, we had a can we set to the side. And I had asked David back at the time, because we were taking limbs and a bunch of other stuff and putting it up on the landfill.
It was after Hurricane Michael.
Was that okay? And anyway, so then they got onto us and said, no, said, if we catch it again, said, you're definitely getting fined.
What about the coastal cleanups and stuff like that? I mean, at one time.
I
you
take
guys-
I take that into the transfer station. I don't take it to here. I take it to the landfill
You take it to the Leon County Transfer Station?
or the landfill more than likely.
Straight from here to there.
Yeah.
Jackson
Problem is
County?
keeping it on site.
Right.
In Campbellton is where when you say landfill, you mean Campbellton,
Decatur.
Decatur.
Yeah.
So if I could piggyback on that to make sure I understand. So the household kitchen waste that you pick up on the truck on a daily basis, we're not permitted for you to take that from a vehicle at the site. So
Correct.
it's not just a matter of you not wanting to be helpful or county not accommodating people. We would have to go through a separate level of DEP permitting in order to be able to do that.
And that whole facility would have to be totally redone. We'd have to have leachate system in place. We'd have to have it fully covered with, and it'd have to be enclosed with the building. So the whole thing would be a whole different thing. And what it's considered now is a truck-to-truck transfer. So basically, people are able to back up to where we've got a trailer and dump it in directly into it. It's not supposed to be touched, or that's why our trucks can't dump in there. So we don't have any of our trucks, even our little trucks can't dump into there.
And that's one reason we did this whole exercise, because we used to have the transfer station at the landfill, out in the rain.
Mm-hmm.
And we got dinged by DEP, I don't know how many times, because you're supposed to collect all that water.
And we still do from time to time. Not that we actually have been fined or anything, but they'll get onto us if in between the side of the trailer and down, and so we haven't had time to move the trailer out. And then Calvert will send his group down there with a bucket, and we'll throw it all into the bucket and take it back up on the hill and dump it inside. But if she gets there and we haven't moved that trailer, and that trailer's there for that day, and it hasn't been loaded out yet, then she dings us every time we have trash on the ground, because to your point, we're not supposed to have any at all on the ground. Metal she doesn't care so much about. Tires we can't have on the ground anymore, so we have them in a container. We don't ever put them on the ground. The used oil's underneath a containment. It has a separate containment, and it's underneath the shed, so none of that's an issue anymore, except for like Randy said, the stuff on the ground that we can't do anything about until we move the trailer, and then we can scrape it back up and put
See, I think that's good to know for the public. I wasn't clear on that either, and I think the public probably is not aware of that. We think, well, you can just throw everything out there. It's garbage, throw it out there and let them sort it out. But
And most people don't know, and when we catch it at the site, that's where they drive across the scale, and the people on the scale check to make sure, but we can't catch all of it, because they don't necessarily going to tell you that either.
Right.
But so, I mean, do we have some of that from time to time? Yeah, there's no way of catching it all.
We had an email from a guy too that says, they wouldn't take my half-full can of paint.
Yeah.
And what are we supposed to do with that? Well, that's why we have amnesty days, right, Nanette? We have one this Saturday.
TVs, electronics we can't take there.
Yeah,
But
I'm gonna bring you two, by the way, 2 TVs.
it's
Well, he was
it's only
complaining y'all
$35
didn't take-
each for the TV.
You can't take paint.
are you saying you will take them for a fee? Is that what you're saying?
No, I would just give Randy a
Well, I
hard.
know, because Marpan will.
Yeah.
And I think they'll charge $40 for them.
Yeah.
And, we got some emails about that, people complaining about that, but,
We're doing that for free this year.
yeah.
And we're actually taking a can. We've got I don't know if it's a 30 or 40 yard, but we're taking one, and when we get it full, then
Just as part of the amnesty.
yeah, just for the amnesty days.
Gotcha.
But just because we had Goodwill in the late years past,
Mhm.
and Goodwill, Tammy can tell you, they just backed out completely on assembly.
Since we got over an hour to burn, I had Kristen Dozier, the Leon County Commissioner, I had her send me the minutes where they rebid their contract, and there was gonna be a 28% increase, basically, when they rebid it. And that was,
At the minimum.
yeah, well, they rebid it twice, actually. The first time, you guys were the only one to submit a bid,
Right.
and it was still an increase of 15%, right? Oops, sorry about that. I thought I had it on. Then they rebid it, and another company got it. Of course, the other company already knew what your bid was.
Right.
So as long as they got lower than that, they were pretty sure they would have got it. But anyway, it was going to be a 28% increase, but apparently they changed what they wanted a little bit on the rebid. I guess they wanted rear loaders instead of side loaders because of hydraulic fluid, or
Yep.
is what Kristen was saying.
Mhm.
So they ended up just going back to the original contract. And did they keep the same rate like we're doing?
They did. But now, with what David had put in there, we've included an extra day of the transfer station being opened.
And
So-
new equipment, that's a big one for me, is
Yeah, well, the new equipment's on the, not on the transfer side, but on the truck side. We've already got two of the new trucks in, and the third one's coming, hopefully by the end of next week, that's completely redone.
keep Calvert, right? That's, we ought to put that in the contract too.
You can't do that. Yeah,
But
we
anyway,
are.
the calls that I get are almost invariably, they go back to broken down equipment.
And-
Why somebody didn't get picked up, or why it's late. So that, if that could be fixed.
Ralph brought up a really good point. When you look at the total number of misses or complaints, for the last 4 months, it's been average of 11 a month. I mean, that's less than 0.2%. I mean, that's phenomenal. And not to say that we can't improve, and especially with new trucks, but even then, we have brand new trucks in a lot of new contracts, but they still break down.
Sure.
So it's making sure that we get it done and get it done the very next day.
And to replace, can you glean off of Leon County's fleet for a replacement truck?
Well, Leon County's older fleet, but the city of Tallahassee, yes, because it's a newer fleet.
So if a truck breaks down here,
We,
you can get one from up there,
Yep.
because I know there
And
have been
Calvert-
times where you couldn't get one.
Calvert can say, well, that was back when we had older fleet. The problem is that contractually, when you have a bunch of old contracts at the same time, it's not like you can just go out and buy a brand new bunch of trucks you've got to wait till that contract gets to the age to where you can
Amortized.
and get it back into the right age. So that's why Tallahassee's back where it is, and Leon County's still got an older fleet, and our fleet here will be relatively new by the end of 2021. If
Calvert will like that.
yeah, Calvert will enjoy that. And what the biggest problem is, and Mike, you know, it was on our little trucks, because Mike was upset that both of our little trucks were down at the same time, and we needed to get it fixed. That was our biggest complaint and biggest issue. And so now what we've got two brand new little trucks that have to go to the city of Tallahassee, and when they get done, if something does happen, we're able to process them back into here that same day. So, but we've got new trucks, at least one brand new little truck coming in this grouping.
That's
this
for the
first
back door service or side door
it's,
service? Or?
no, it's for the small alleyways, small streets. We've got a ton of streets that you just can't put these bigger trucks on.
Gotcha.
And the little ways that we go through, there's no way they can't fit through the brush, they can't
I
fit
have the
through.
back door, and they back the big truck all the way down there.
I
While
got
we're, since we got so much time to burn, I'm sure some people are watching, there's been a suggestion we should rebid it. I had David print this out. This is in 2011. We had another bid against Waste Pro, and it was from Veolia. And Waste Pro bid $183 a year. They bid $258 a year. But if you look on your columns of things they weren't going to offer, will staff and operate Lower Beach landfill? Veolia, no. Will offer curbside pickup recycling? Veolia, no. So the only other bid we had wouldn't have offered recycling, wouldn't even had the landfill open at all, and was, not maybe $80 more. So,
Price of recycling right now is at $80 a ton.
I mean, you're getting nothing.
It's more than the
Recycling.
trash is costing to get rid of.
You used to make a little money off of it.
Say that again. So you have to pay to get rid of the recycling,
$80 a ton.
and that you're paying more than getting rid of just regular garbage.
And if you rebid it, the problem would be that then that would come into the pricing of the,
Recycling.
most definitely would come into the pricing.
Whether you bid against it or anybody.
Anybody, because, it's Marpan, and where's Marpan going to be? Not to say that it couldn't go up even more than that if Marpan decides to default.
Can you address the recycling? Because there's a mindset from some people that you pick it up in two different trucks and it winds up in the same place. And
No,
there's
but it
really
doesn't.
no recycling going
Now,
on.
to your point, we collect 1 through 7, and if it has a recycling emblem, we keep putting it in the paper and trying to address it on the website with what is recycling. So on the Wakulla website, and it leads back to ours, it has what is truly recyclable on there, which is good for everybody. But in front of everybody, it's only 1 through 7, and it's only consumable items. So glass, but it's only consumable glass, like glass bottles. It's not glass windows. It's not glass tables. It's none of that type of glass. It's not porcelain for urinals or for toilets. It's none of that. It's only true consumable glass or plastic. And the plastic will be notated by the 1 through 7 with the arrows going around it. That's the type of plastic. It's not any kind of other metal other than aluminum, and it's consumable aluminum. It's aluminum cans and pie tins that have been taken care of. Cardboard, corrugated, you know, we think about what is cardboard or what is corrugated. When we say cardboard, what we truly mean is corrugated cardboard. And that's what we truly recycle the most of. But we have cereal boxes that's a pressed cardboard. It's not corrugated, it's solid. And that's also recyclable. And paper and magazines and envelopes and that kind of stuff is truly recyclable. Plastics are not, plastic bags are not. Only
cans?
Huh?
Tin cans?
Tin cans are. Tin cans and you know, most of all of your laundry detergent bottles.
Because you had said earlier, no metal except aluminum.
Aluminum and tin. The tin pie, I mean, most of those.
Like
Some of them are aluminum, some of them are tin.
A
Can of beans. Those are
no bolts and nuts and stuff.
no car parts. We constantly have break a blade on our truck because someone's thrown an alternator or a starter, and it gets hung up in the blade of the truck and breaks the truck.
Me, I didn't do it.
And it's constantly, especially on the recycling, because they're not made to be the big compactors. They're made to compact a little bit just to get a little bit of volume.
Right.
But when you put in a piece of metal, or the other day someone threw in a bed frame, and it punctured through the body of the truck.
They threw in a bed frame.
Yeah, they
in
threw it
what?
in the container, and it punctured all the way
In
through
the regular container.
in a regular trash container.
This must have been a small bed.
Hmm?
Must have been a small bed.
No, I think it was just a twin. I don't know what size it was, but it wasn't didn't have to be much of a frame for it to collapse, and it may have been collapsed already, but that kind of steel, it's not meant to go into those trucks. And same thing for liquids. Those trucks aren't made to compact liquid. They're compaction, but they won't hold all that liquid. They've got to come out, and there's air holes, and there's areas that allow that water excuse me, for that fluid to come out, because it's a compaction. If not, it'd just blow up.
I think the new trucks are probably the biggest.
And it's time. It's that time for the contract for everything else to be able to get those. And we've already got 2 of them, brand new ones, and the third one that's coming back hopefully this week is a complete refurb of the big truck. So brand new motor, all new painted, all new rear end, all new everything. So that's a really good. Our big trucks are really good.
What were the other substantive changes to the existing contract? Bill is here. We got to give him something about it.
The first substantive change was we changed the CPI definition of the CPI index that we'll be using. We changed that to the U.S. city average for water and sewer and trash collection services CPI. It runs about a point to a half a point higher than the others. Than the other CPIs, but we also did agree we would negotiate the CPI increase each year, and not any 1 year would the CPI increase be higher than 3%. The other changes that we made was, as we talked about earlier, as we added Mondays to the landfill, memorialized that.
Open what days now?
Monday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Monday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday.
And Thursday's the one we added.
That's right.
What hour on?
That is 8 to 5 during the week, and and 8 to 3 p.m. on Saturdays. The other changes, other than we had a lot of cleanup changes in here. We had the no later than October 1st, 2021, the franchisees shall utilize 4 new vehicles to provide collection services under this agreement. Additionally, no later than October 1st, 2022, there'll be 4 more additional vehicles to provide collection. So that'll be a total of 8 by the end of 2022.
8, and the headache.
We have 12.
Yeah. Let's see, the other change, any significant changes? Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry,
Okay, so picking up after the new vehicles, it does some minor changes to the reporting for non-residential franchise fees. It requires next spring a joint physical count of single-family dwelling units in the county in order to further true up some of the issues that we had with counts in the past. It adds the state-required public records language. There were some modifications and clarifications to the payment procedures for single-family dwelling units. Let's see, it updates Appendix Exhibit A, which is the fees. It includes that's 2% CPI.
The CPI, not 2% CPI.
Well, the CPI,
we agreed upon a CPI 2% this year.
for this year. It amends the rate adjustment factors. As originally done back in 2011, there was a CPI for parts and then a fuel adjustment, and it removes the fuel adjustment, and it's just the CPI, as David mentioned, that new CPI. And then it just does some cleanup on the franchise fee language. Those are the substantive
Then
matters.
when we talk, CPI isn't necessarily going to be reflected in the customer's bill, right?
No, what we've done in the past is as we've given, which wasn't often, given Waste Pro an increase in their CPI, the county collects a franchise fee, and two other fees on this, an administrative fee and a collections fee. And what we've done is the fund is performing well, even though it's in the red due to the borrowing that we've had to endure, as well as what the requirements from DEP that we maintain a certain fund balance in there. But what we would do is we just reduce the percentage that we were taking out of the customer's bill to absorb Waste Pro's increase, because the fund is financially healthy. We've done that up to a point this year. We can do that. Moving forward, we're going to have to increase. As Waste Pro increase, we'll have to increase the customer's bill.
But
it may not be point to point. It may be they go up 2 points and we're a point.
Because in our conversation with Greg, when that loan is paid off for the landfill closure,
That's right.
you're going to try to.
What we're trying to do is, that's right, because technically if you looked at it now from a financial standpoint, you say, wow, we need to go ahead and rev it up and increase it. But the problem is, as soon as this landfill closure loan is finished, you would have to go right back down. So that's crazy. So what we're trying to do is flatten that curve
Over
a 10-year period. That's right, over a 10-year period. So we're trying to flatten that curve. So the way it's looking right now, if Waste Pro were to go up, just for instance, 2% next year, we're thinking there will probably be the models that I run is probably about a 1% maybe increase to the customer.
It'll be
But
$2 a year.
we still have to refine that, but that's the way it's looking right now, because we don't want to over rev it. The fund's doing good, we're covering all our expenses, and we don't want to over rev it, because we've got at the end of the day, we have an $80,000 a year nut that'll come off in 10 years.
I think it's also important for people that weren't around. Me and Mike were on the board at the time, but this applies from Smith Creek all the way to Wakulla Station. You say, well, could they get a better deal maybe in the Flowers subdivision? Probably, because there's a bigger density there. But when we did this, it had to be countywide. Every person has to pay the same thing.
But when we did this, the landfill was in a mess.
Yes.
I mean, DEP was on our backs. We didn't have anywhere to take trash. Private haulers were the ones.
We had a
doing business.
compacted design for 10,000 people.
And the thing is the private you know, I've heard that, well, why can't I go back to my private hauler? Well, the private haulers didn't work, we proved that. They pick up the trash from the house, the homeowner's happy, it's out of sight, out of mind. But the trash has to go somewhere, and we had nowhere to take it.
Nope.
So the landfill was full. Some of the private haulers weren't paying their way as they went. They were in debt to the county over their years, and so it didn't work. And so the best thing we ever did was, even though it was fought hard then, looking back at it now, so this was probably the best thing we ever did for
I think
for
I'd agree
the
with
county, to consolidate the garbage hauling, get it out of the county, let them take care of the landfill closure. It's been a win-win. Now, can we do better? I don't know. I mean, if Leon County couldn't get any bidders to respond, I'm not sure Wakulla County can do much better at getting bidders to respond. And like I said last meeting, you know, when you look at the big picture, like when those 2 trucks broke down, does that happen very often? No. It happened then, and that was a crisis, and y'all overcame it. It was frustrating to the people who didn't have their garbage picked up.
Yeah, understood.
You guys did your job and you got it turned around, but when you look at the number of complaints, in consideration of how many people are in the, you know, having their garbage picked up, is small. And I don't think have we ever had to implement a
Fine.
fine? Never?
I've tried.
And there's.
And that wants to really bad.
I know, and
They don't like paying them, do they? They work out of it.
and every time I've gotten a complaint, I've personally called Nanette or Calvert, and it gets taken care of.
Each of you have my phone number, and I live here.
And,
I live in this community, so.
well, that's the problem, is a lot of times the citizens are calling Waste Pro when actually they need to be calling Nanette, so we have a record and we can know if it's a regular thing.
Well, and also,
And Nanette doesn't want it.
well, also,
Number next.
this public needs to remember, going on Facebook is not going to get your problem solved.
Correct.
So you need to go directly to the net or to Waste Pro, because getting on Facebook is not going to solve it. It may make you feel better, but that's all it's going to do.
Understood. And then the other thing is we have the true up. That was the last thing that I believe.
Yeah, and that's, we've already taken care of that. The other thing is Nanette is in the process, which she's been wanting to do for a while, is she finally found a possible grant where we can start up
Our own private household hazardous waste.
Good.
yeah.
Oh, really?
So she's chasing that grant heavy right now.
After that, when I was there 2 or 3 times.
Well, she said
Hard
she
to
can
make the
do it,
numbers
she can
work.
do it, so.
Does DEP still have that one-time grant?
This is a reoccurring grant.
It used to be a one-time to build the facility, then you had to keep it open, you had to keep it staffed.
Well, Nanette she's pursuing it. If anybody can
I'll
get
have
it,
to go back up
it'll
about
be
that.
her, so.
I've been there and done that.
It'd be nice if we could get that.
Don't mess it up for her.
It's changed, fine,
Are
but
you all done with me?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
As long as you stand there longer, Randy's gonna ask you questions. So any other comments from the audience? You guys are welcome to speak.
any aspiring politicians got
Questions?
anything to say?
Any more comments from the board?
I'd like to make just one. So what this boils down to for the folks that want to bid it out or think that they want 24/7 service or 24/7 bulk pickup, this comes down to $3.76 per week per household. And so that's what the citizens need to ask themselves. Am I getting $3.76 worth out of Waste Pro? And man, somebody please show me how that is not being achieved, because that's what it boils down to. And you've got 2 trucks, so $1.88 for the recycle truck, $1.88 for the trash truck. So if we're not getting $3.76 worth, my math is just not good, but I don't.
As I am.
And the last 10 years, we haven't had a rate increase. The
Right.
last 9.5 years.
Right.
There's been no rate increase to the citizens, so, that's unheard of
Yeah.
when you're doing this kind of.
Absolutely. If we could, I don't think there's any change to the bulk pickup, but I think maybe Tallahassee or Leon County, you can just put everything on the side of the road and they'll come pick it up. I don't know if that's still the case, but could we address how that works here? If someone has a refrigerator, and a couch, and they drive a Prius, and we still have a bulk pickup ability, but you just can't stick it out there and leave it 24/7.
I mean, I've heard a lot of complaints about that, and they've said they've called and it's set. I'm not sure I understand the process either, but tell us again.
Good afternoon. Well, most of you know me. I'm Calbert. Sometimes the enemy and sometimes I'm your best friend. Okay. So, but anyway, we have a bulk pickup. It's occurring twice a month now. Not once a month, it's twice a month. It's the first and third Saturday of each month. The items that we do pick up would be commonly household furniture, desk chairs, any type of furniture that would come out of a house. It could be an ottoman or whatever it could be. Couch could be consisted as a love seat and a regular full-size couch, or a couch and a chair that may be part of the same suit. Beds means anything from mattresses to box springs to even the bed itself. You want to get rid of the bed frame, the bed, the whole, we take it all, okay? Now, refrigerators, freezers, those, please make sure there's no food inside the refrigerator or the freezer. We will not pick it up if it's contaminated. That makes it contaminated, because if I take a freezer that has food in it, put it in the back of a truck that we just picked up 20 other items from a household or from other tickets that we have, we just contaminated that load. That load is no good to Waste Pro whatsoever, okay? So, right. And so, and now the problem with refrigerators is we've got to be real careful because of the Freon. And now we do pick them up, but unfortunately Freon escapes when we actually crush it. We really don't have a collection site. Maybe this could be part of the grant that maybe Nanette's working on. We could kind of do some recovery or whatever there. I know we'll probably be working real close with her in regards to that. But we do pick those items up.
It's like a clamshell truck, Calvert? Whatever.
No, sir. We use rear loaders.
So you pick
We-
your guys
we
pick it up,
use-
throw it in the back
yeah.
of the rear loader.
I'm
The
sorry.
customer has to call you to
Yes, sir.
now,
They have to call our office. I'm sorry, Mr. Stewart.
I'm sorry, I'm talking
No,
over
sir,
you.
you're
So
you're fine.
the two Saturdays, what Saturdays were they, the first and third?
We,
Okay.
it, under the contract, we were doing them the first Saturday of each month.
Okay, so
We
if I know
had-
if I know that's coming up, the first Saturday's coming up,
Mm-hmm.
I call today and say I'm gonna have a couch or a refrigerator out by the road. You guys will take care of it.
Mm-hmm.
And what happens if I put it out and it lays out by the road
It better not.
for a couple weeks?
It better
if
not.
I did,
No,
here's
sir.
what I've seen is
I know.
throughout the county, I've seen these knuckleheads just drag stuff out by the road and leave it mattresses and junk,
Mhm.
and
And
probably
not
haven't called you guys, and then it just lays there. So do y'all ever take the opportunity to go pick that stuff up without being called?
If for some reason that our truck misses it for that week or that particular pickup, we do send trucks back.
No, he's saying if nobody ever calls it in, they just take it out to the end of the road, y'all want to go pick it up.
It'll just lay
We
there.
haven't,
Okay.
Well, you don't know whether, as soon as you pick it up, if they ain't called it in, but I wanted that.
Yeah, you stole it.
okay, because there's been times in the past that we picked items up from the side of the road, and we've had to reimburse customers due to the fact that they
My mattress.
claim that,
I was just airing my mattress out.
okay, so we, as a company, we have to be extremely careful in regards to that,
That makes sense.
okay?
Quite
that's-
frequently too, code enforcement gets calls about people that have left stuff by the roadside and it's sat there for weeks. So usually, when we get those calls, we do notify the property owner and inform them. Most of the time they say, oh, well, I've been waiting for Waste Pro to pick it up. And it's like, no, you have to call them and tell them to come get it. So we, can a lot of times catch it on the back end too.
That makes sense. Okay. That's good. I'm hoping folks will hear this, and I hope the newspaper puts something out of it.
Okay.
Did they call Loretto for that or Nanette?
Loretta, call our office at 926.
7010.
Yeah, the 7010, 926-7010 number.
Okay.
And get through to her.
Lord, on that
And
too.
so,
No, she's got other things to do.
okay,
Oh, Randy.
All right.
anything else?
No, sir, I think that's it for you. We
Okay,
appreciate you.
thank you very much.
Thank you.
Anything else for the board? Not, we'll end this workshop, and we'll pick back up at 5 PM with the regular meeting. Thank y'all.
Therefore,
Thank you.